Hello, hopefully you enjoy this upcoming performance from National eTheatr. If you do, well, all of the artists taking part in this project, writers, directors and actors, are self-employed and currently unemployed thanks to the coronavirus outbreak here in the UK. And so if you want to support them, you can do so by visiting the links which will be in the description below the video, and you can donate as little or as much as you want to and feel able to. That money will all be distributed evenly among all the artists taking part. If you can't do that, at the very least, we'd love you to be able to share the videos on your social media accounts, on Facebook, on Twitter, with a friend who might be missing their weekly trip to the theatre. Anyone you think might enjoy it, that is also a massive help. You can follow the project and be alerted to any upcoming videos by following the channel, which you can do so up above, or you can follow us on Twitter on @NationalETheatr. Thank you for watching, and sit back now and enjoy the show.
To obtain cardboard. You can find loads outside shops the night before their bin collections, and you can quickly obtain quite a haul. You do need to be picky though, careful with the type and the quality. You want the really strong, thick stuff, and ideally a box that's been used to deliver a larger item like a freezer or a chest of drawers. And you don't want it to have contained anything smelly either. You can put together a large enough box by putting together several smaller boxes, but if you do that, you need to make sure to allow a very generous overlap at all the joins. The joins are always going to be the weakest part. I'm the first person in my family to go to university. When I first looked it up online, I couldn't believe how exciting it was going to be. You know, all those multi-levelled libraries and state-of-the-art lecture theatres, leisure and study spaces with their own coffee shops. In all the photos and videos, everyone seemed to be strolling around, laughing, smiling, like they didn't have a care in the world. My school was nothing like that. It was the kind of place where if you laughed, or even dared force a timid grin, someone would ask you what your problem was. Or, more likely, kick you in the teeth. I'm not saying I was singled out or anything. Others had it far worse with bullying and that than me. I quickly learned to keep my head down, not to make eye contact, to become invisible, basically. Don't stick your hand up if you know the right answer, because even the teacher will mock you. Just don't say anything. Just get through the day. University was going to be nothing like that. Here, people would be excited to meet me and be my friend and really want to hear what I had to say. Or so I thought. During Freshers Week, people handed me flyers for all different kinds of hobbies and activities. I was asked to join sports teams, political groups, choirs, drama clubs. I went along to just about everything, sitting there while people far more confident and interesting than me spoke and were listened to. Not that I minded, of course. I was dazzled to be among all their ideas and opinions. It was a couple of weeks into term before I really noticed it, the fact that no one had noticed me. By then, the invitations had started to dry up, and I'd watch people heading off out to this and that, and I mean, I'd occasionally go to a bar or a coffee shop, but every time I did, I always found myself on the very edge of a crowd, you know, forcing a smile and trying not to look too lonely or desperate. What is wrong with me? Why am I not an interesting person? How do you become someone that other people want to talk to? You can buy parcel tape in different strengths, widths and lengths. It's actually quite overwhelming having to make a choice, and well, for me at any rate, it was hard to estimate exactly how much I was going to need, because I've never done anything like this before. I ended up getting 3 rolls, just to be on the safe side. And previously, I thought that you could only get parcel tape in this shiny brown colour, but you can get it in clear, or, my choice, white with fragile written on it in red, and not just because of how I was feeling, obviously. Larger parcels often come with huge staples, and now these are nothing like the staples you use to hold the pages of an essay together. And, well, you can't very well staple a package from the inside, and the backs of these staples tend to be very sharp anyway, so I didn't bother. My family just don't understand. They're all so proud of me. Both of my sisters told me that I was lucky to be going to a uni instead of into low-paid jobs like them. And a degree in environmental science is the best way to get out of my hometown with its 0-hour shifts with zero prospects. But I had friends there, neighbours I grew up with, people who talked like me and thought like me. I was happy, I belonged. This term has been even worse than the last. If anything, I'm even more homesick. I almost didn't return when I went back to my parents for Christmas, but they'd have been so disappointed, Mum and Dad. And then this whole crisis happened, and the university said to us that they were closing for the duration and we had to go home. Well, unlike most people, I was relieved. Fine, I thought, I'll go back to my parents, I'll watch the live stream lectures and I'll upload my essays from there. If anything, I'm probably off better there, because at least I can try and get my head together. If my dad didn't have to give up driving, he'd have been down here in a flash in the car to pick me up. Mum has a car as well, but she's just busy. She's doing deliveries for people who can't get out and buy their groceries. So, the first thing I did, after I checked that, the trains were still running, is look up the fare for my hometown. And I knew it was going to be expensive because I wasn't booking in advance, but even so, I was shocked at how much the price was. It is a figure that is larger than my current bank balance. I looked out the window at my fellow students packing wheelie suitcases and boxes into waiting cars, and I didn't know what to do. That night, as I sat at the window of my now eerily quiet accommodation block and watched all the traffic whizzing past, I just wished I could convince one of the drivers to just give me a lift home. Only part of the way. I had looked up car share websites, but none of them would take me where I needed to go, and I wasn't sure how safe getting into a car with a complete stranger was. Not very safe at all, obviously. And then I realised something. As I was watching the traffic just race by, I noticed that there were still loads of white vans from courier companies collecting and delivering parcels. And a while back, I overheard a guy on my course saying about how he used to sell his old textbooks, CDs, DVDs, even clothes online, parceling them up into boxes and then ordering a courier to come and get them, postage free. One of these wholesale companies that buys all your old stuff is on an industrial estate a few streets away from my parents' house. And that's when I thought, is it possible to post yourself? When I was a kid, my mum and dad used to pick up the groceries in these cardboard cartons from the supermarket, and I'd draw on them with my felt tips. I'd draw houses, stables, even a spaceship, and I'd play in them for hours. It was really comforting being inside a box. It wasn't claustrophobic at all. But is it possible to post yourself? I went online. So, in the early 20th century, a man called W. Reginald Gray posted himself. He apparently became really famous for it. He was trying to test the Royal Mail. And so he went along to his local post office, which was Forest Hill in South London, with the correct postage and an address label. I can't find out if he put himself in a box though, and he actually only lived a street away from the post office. I don't know if I can quite afford the stamps to travel by Royal Mail, but with the courier company, all I had to do, or so I hoped, was to build myself a reinforced box, cut loads of air holes into it, then call the company, crawl into my box using the little door that I'd made, seal myself inside, and be picked up. And, well, if the courier did discover me and decide to charge me for the journey, I'd be home by then, and hopefully all I'd need to do was ask my parents to borrow some money, with a little bit of luck. So, my box is built, and I'm ready to go. Oh. All I'm worried about now is how long I'm going to have to be in here for. I think I'll need to be inside for about 3 hours, so that's how long I've practiced for. I've got enough space so that I can do a few small stretches in case I get cramp, and I will have to sit hugging my knees for quite some time. I've got a cushion, 2 bottles of water, a packet of sandwiches, a torch, and some scissors. The scissors are for, getting out when I arrive, obviously, and also they let me make some extra air holes should I need them. So, that's all done and dusted. Wish me luck. Okay, so, as you can see, I'm still here. So, here's what happened, right? I carried my box downstairs into the hallway of my block. I climbed inside and I waited. I'd already called up and booked a time slot for my parcel pickup, so that's all that there was left to do. What I didn't realise is that a pickup slot vaguely means any time on a particular morning or afternoon. I sat in this box for over an hour. I checked my phone for the time occasionally, but I didn't use it apart from that. I needed to keep as much battery as possible in case of any emergencies. I was just debating whether to risk getting out for a quick loo break when I heard someone coming down the stairs. I thought everyone had gone. I thought I was the only person left in this accommodation block. Clearly, I was mistaken. I peered through the nearest air hole and I saw a young woman with curly blue hair descending. She was holding a bulging bag for life on each arm and her hands were clasped round a hamster cage. She sat at the bottom of the stairs and started to check her phone. I then recognised her as someone I'd walked past previously in the hallway or the foyer. I hoped that whoever she was waiting for with all her packed up belongings would hurry up and collect her. Having to stay completely motionless and silent is an extra stress I certainly don't need. That's when it happened. I tried and failed to stifle a sneeze. It just flew out. It was loud, incredibly so. Or, maybe that was just the surrounding cardboard making a kind of echo chamber. So, I sneezed and my blockmate screamed. Looking through the nearest air hole, I could see her fearful eyes watching my box. She stood up then and started to warily move towards me. I didn't know what to do. I just froze. Stupid, really. "I know someone's in there," she said, her voice a little unsteady. "Are you all right?" She was walking around my box then, still nervously maintaining a slight distance. "Are you all right?" she repeated. "Do you understand me? Can you speak English?" It suddenly occurred to me that she thought I was somehow held captive in this box, or an illegal migrant being trafficked. I looked out of the air hole again, and I saw her pick up her phone again, and with a very serious and concerned expression on her face, starting to dial a number. Who was she calling? The police? "It's all right," I said. "I'm coming out." Carly recognised me as a neighbour the minute I emerged and she started laughing. At that point she thought it was a prank and she could not believe it when I admitted what I was trying to do. Carly also made the point that even if, my box had been collected, I might have ended up in a locked up van or a depot somewhere instead of making it home. And of course at that point we had no idea how strict or not restrictions on working and travelling were going to get. She then said that her brother was coming to pick her up from Dundee and take her home. And once I told her where I was trying to get to, she said that dropping me off in my hometown wouldn't be a big detour for them and that they'd be happy to do it. Plus, she said that it'd be nice to have someone to chat to on the way because brother tended to be a bit on the quiet side. Come on, collect your stuff together. Jake will be here in a minute. Carly grinned then and gestured towards my box. And you might want to drop that off at the recycling bin before we go. I smiled at that too. While we were chatting, I heard Carly's hamster rustling around in his bedding. She said that he was called Gus and that she bought him for a bit of company because she was finding being away from home for the first time a little bit scary. I just think I'm a bit too weird, too out there to really relate to people, she said. Weird? You're not the one who tried to post yourself, I reminded her. She laughed then. Yeah, fair play, Flo, but I think it's good to do things a bit differently, to think outside the box, I teased. We were both laughing then. Suddenly, she saw a car drive past really slowly. Oh, that'll be Jake trying to look for a parking space, probably. Will you hang on to Gus for a sec? And Carly's coming back in now with a boy who is the shorter version of her, but with fair hair instead of blue. Jake, this is Flo. Come on, girl, grab your bags. We're going home.